Okay, today I'm going to talk about camping mattresses because I just got one and I got it from a very unusual source, as you're about to see in this video. Now, I've been through the route with camp mattresses like I watch everybody go through. I went through all that long ago and worked it out long ago, and I'm going to show you what equipment I use, which is some of it's rather unusual. And you know, I've watched some of these videos. The guys go on a motorcycle trip and they show you what equipment you need to have, but that's really kind of a moot point because the choice of equipment is different for every guy. I ain't never seen two guys use the same stuff. What works for one guy don't work for the other, and what works for him don't work for me. It's something you just have to work out for yourself. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you my stuff, just mine, and what I use. Maybe you can get some ideas from it and what it's evolved into over the years. Okay, now what I know about mattresses is there's three different kinds. First off, you have air mattresses, which I started off with. A lot of guys do that. And what I'm gonna point out is the pros and cons of each one. Okay, so the air mattress, some guys like the way they feel. I don't. I think they're uncomfortable. I don't like the way they feel. But the plus that they have is they tend to roll up pretty small. But these probably have the most negative points, and those are they're a hassle to set up and take down. The other thing is they don't last, man. They will leak. They start leaking. I had one once. It was an air bed. It was real thick, made for a house. It started leaking. You got to watch where you put them down. You don't poke holes in them, all that kind of thing. So for long term, they don't last. For a while, if you like them, they're cool. But for long term, I've watched all these guys go through it. It's leaking again. It's warranted. They're going to give me another one. Whatever. You always got to fuck with those things. And the other thing about them is that if it's cold out, when I'm laying on that thing, if I'm on a sleeping bag or something, I'm squishing the sleeping bag down below me because I'm laying on it, and I'm cold from the air that's inside of the air mattress, and I cannot heat that with my body. If I'm cold from the air in that thing or from the ground below me, if you're laying in your bed, you notice the cold's coming from below you. I cannot heat, nobody can heat the earth with their body. So you're just going to have to sleep cold. So the next mattress in line, I guess, is the self-inflators, which I've never had one, but Michelle traveled with me a long time and she used one of those. And the self-inflators, I think they're the most comfortable. That's what I'd say about them. They have, I believe that they're stuffed with, what do they call it? Memory foam? I think that's what's in them. And foam rubber is a great insulator, man. They insulate pretty damn well from the ground. Here again, the cons on those, the negative points is they're kind of a pain in the ass to set up. You can't just throw them up. They're gonna fucking leak, just like every other air mattress, and they tend to roll up fairly large. Now the third mattress is simply a piece of foam rubber, and I'm gonna tell you how I came to that conclusion. There was a lot of trial and error. In the beginning, of course, I couldn't make the air mattresses last, so that was out. And for a while I was carrying an extra sleeping bag and putting it underneath me and trying to use that for a mattress, which didn't work out that good. And even for a while, I don't remember the exact details, but I was using carpet foam from under the carpet folded in half, and I used that for a while. But how I came to the conclusion to use foam rubber was I was camping in a field somewhere and some homeless people had left some foam out there, and I tried that, and I've been using it ever since. Now that has evolved into something different, into these pieces of foam that I'm able to stretch 9 years out of, like I just did the last one. Okay, and so I'm going to tell you what the pros and cons of foam rubber is. The pros are it doesn't pop. And you don't have to blow it up. It rolls out, you can get on it. Some of you guys know that when I get home, I don't want to mess around. Sometimes I get home late. I want to put the place up and get into bed. I don't want to be screwing around with stuff, because a lot of times I take the camp with me every day, right? Put it up every night. So I like that part. The other advantage is that it's great insulation from the ground. And the foam that I'm using, as you're about to see in this video, lasts for a long time for regular use. So it has all those advantages. The disadvantages is that it will collect condensation from your body, which I'm going to get into in a minute and how to keep that down. And sometimes you want to lay it in the sun and dry it out. But the stuff I'm using, as you'll see, really doesn't collect condensation too much. In the East, Where there's a lot of humidity is where you get that problem. In the West, you really don't get it, where there isn't any humidity. So it will collect condensation from your body, and here's another thing, is sometimes mold will grow inside the stuff. So I've had spots where a dark spot begins to grow, and what I'll do with it is take it and hang it over a ladder somewhere, mix bleach with water, and saturate it with the bleachy water and let it sit for a few hours or overnight or whatever, and then take a hose and completely hose it out to get rid of that mold. That kills it all off. But it takes like a couple of days usually for the stuff to dry once it is that saturated. So, and it also rolls up fairly large. I'll show you before this video is over. So you got to make room for it. But if you're going to be out here long term, it's what works. I've watched all the guys go through it with the mattresses, just like I did in the beginning, and I just smile at them. I'm like, well, this is what I use. The thing about foam rubber is it'll collect condensation. But what I learned is it doesn't do that as long as one side of it is non-porous. They used to make these mattresses, you could get them like at Walmart. I think you can still buy them online. That was egg crate foam, and they had one side that wasn't porous. And I used those for quite a while. They were pretty cheap. You can't really get them anymore. I think Joe bought one online that was a real nice one, cost him some money. But the thing about the ones I was using was they didn't last long. They wore out pretty damn quick, and now you can't even get them anymore. So what I ended up doing was getting car seat foam from an actual foam rubber place. Now, most cities have these foam rubber places, or at least some do. We're going to go to one that's in Houston, and you'll see the people are really cool. The girl at the desk, she says, yeah, y'all come on by and get it. So I'll show you where that is. So I used to get them out of Daytona. There's a guy there. He liked me. He would just give me a piece. And the reason is you need a foam rubber supplier. Now, these are generally big warehouses. This stuff comes in huge cubes. And on the top of the cube and the bottom has a skin on it that is non-porous. And that piece they don't tend to use. They tend to cut that off and throw it away. That's why, or recycle. They actually told me they recycle that stuff. But that's why the guy in Daytona would give me a piece. That's the piece you want. And we're going to see that right here as I go in and get a new piece. Let's take a cruise through the supplier in this video, and at the end I will show you the end result, and we'll look a little bit more at my camp. Okay, now I've got my nasty old piece here. What else lasts 9 years of constant use? And we're gonna walk on in and see if I can find this guy who just grabbed me a piece. See, a big old foam rubber place. See these cubes, they come in huge pieces, right? You think it's the same?
Yeah, so you want, but this one is a...
What's the difference?
This one is like a better foam than this one. Does it matter?
I don't know, what do you got?
This is what I got right here.
See the way it's got a skin on one side? You sure it ain't thinner?
It's because it goes from like 1.5 to 1.
We're gonna pick out another piece.
Something like this type of foam. And let's find one that has the skin, and I think this one, the bottom has one.
We're looking through all these cuts because they don't usually use the end piece. This one's perfect, but it's not long enough. Look, it's perfect, but it's just too short. Damn. Perfect, because a lot of these other ones, see, look, the skin on this one's all messed up. He says he's gonna cut this piece, see it? For me. Beautiful, beautiful. Alright. This is the only kind of place you can get that stuff at, and they gotta be nice people. The Mexicans, this is a family thing. They're all family here, and he's like totally trying to help me, man. That's what they did last time too. I just got out of that corporate place, and my God, that was like, yeah, you'll have to put in an order in a few days, maybe we can get to it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I'm looking for a piece of foam rubber, the part that you throw away.
Get in this.
Man, you'd be throwing things around. You're making a big mess.
It's just foam.
This your father-in-law's place?
Yeah, it is.
How long you been married to his daughter?
20 to 18 years.
18 years.
Yep.
She must be a good one.
Ah, she's a great one.
Nice getting my...
You don't leave.
Huh?
The ones you keep.
One of the ones you keep, obviously.
Yes, sir.
That's a beautiful piece there. We'll see what the inflation rate is now. The last one was 25 bucks 9 years ago. This ought to be interesting. You know how to use that thing?
I think so.
You read the manual or something?
I hope so. Okay, so 13 and a half.
He's got to get it out. See, this has got a blade. Oh, he's bringing the blade down. That's what's happening. I ain't gonna touch it. Huh? I'm not gonna touch nothing. I'm letting you do this. This thing scares me. That's it. That's how they do it. You gonna do it again? I don't know why. He said it's still too thick. I like it, but it just won't roll up small enough. 1.5 inches, right? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess that's what the other one was. Taking much off. Weird. There you have it. Now he's got to cut it the other way. Let's go see what happens. See what this machine does. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, look at that.
It's at 30. You want it at 26?
Whatever you had it at, whatever the other one is. See that? It's a big jigsaw. What it is.
That went down already.
Alright, there's a big jigsaw. That's what it is.
Alright, let's go.
Right on. Ha ha ha. My new mattress. Right on.
To go. Got it done.
And that's where I get my foam rubber. I used to get it in Daytona. There's a place out there, probably any big city. But you can't just put in foam rubber because you get places that do upholstery, or you need the supplier, the big supplier that has the big cubes and the machines that cuts it. So a lot of guys, they're like, I don't want, they look at my mattress like, I don't want no nasty thing like that. Let's take a look at it. It's been bleached a couple times, and these are stains. They don't come out, okay? So they don't like that. And I got a new piece right here with the skin on the back. And it's probably going to roll up too big for a while and take up extra room. That's what that one did until it started to wear down. So if I haven't already talked about the pros and the cons of different mattresses, I will, and why I use this, but this is what you have to do to get one. What a wonderful experience. What nice people. The other place was corporate. This place is just family owned. And man, he went just really cool. We talked for a while about different things. And he said, "What'd you pay last time?" The old guy charged me 25 bucks last time. So what he did, he said, "Okay, 25." But that's 9 years ago. He said, "Okay, 25 bucks." So I got a new bed, a new mattress. It's all clean. Won't stay that way forever. And I gotta go pay the girl at the office. And I doubt. Let's see. Do you want my money?
Yes, give me the money.
Okay, I'm coming.
How much did he charge you?
He told me, "What'd you pay last time?" I said, 25 bucks. He said, "Okay." I said, "Well, that was 9 years ago." He's like, "Yeah, that's all right."
All right. Well,
I really appreciate
we'll
it.
see you in the next 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
God willing.
Yeah, maybe it'll be your kids working here.
Yes, maybe. You have a good day.
Okay, thank you so much.
Camping.
I make little videos, so just
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah,
On
people.
YouTube?
Yeah, I have I've had a channel a long time.
What's your channel
And
name?
then people are curious about what I sleep on, because all the guys who travel by motorcycles, because my stuff's all motorcycle stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of them are camping, and they always fight with what kind of mattresses to use.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this 27 years.
You have your experience.
So I'm kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is what I do, and you got to go here to get it. One of these places.
Yes, Phone Brothers, come see us.
Phone Brothers. Yeah, you won't be making the big money off of us. Not it.
Maybe I'll have a whole line of motorcycles outside ready to buy the skin.
Anyways, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a great time traveling. Bye. Nice.
Bye, baby.
Nice meeting you.
See ya. Looks like I'm going to be able to carry it. It's bigger. I think I'm going to be okay. Might have to sit forward just a little more. All right, now let's take a look at this new mattress or piece of foam rubber in action and how I'm using it. I'll also show you guys a little bit about the bedding and the camp that I use. Okay, this is my humble abode. The pillows are really my jackets. This one here is my riding jacket. Okay, put in a bag. The other one is a down jacket that I picked up at a thrift store. And the reason I use those is because they're light and they're warm. And I don't generally build fires. So if I'm hanging around home, because I spend a lot of time here, then and it's cold, I dress for it. I just put on the down jacket, so light you can wear it to bed if it's a freezing cold night. So I always keep one of them on me. And the reason I have two pillows is because the one pushes the other away from the wall, so I don't have that thing hitting me in the head. Okay, another thing that can be done with this is this thing here, which is my other quilt. Put it against the wall, and then you can lean against it and work on the computer. Or it just makes the whole place into a lounge chair, so it's not just a bed, which adds some significant coolness, because just having a bed's a drag. So that you can just lean on it, sit up, work on the computer, read books, whatever. If I don't want to lay down anymore, I got a lounge chair in there. Now let's take a look at this mattress. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, there's the new piece of foam. Okay, now ironically, you don't have to put the non-porous side up for it to not become wet from condensation. This I don't understand. I don't know how condensation works, but I know what it does. So you can put the soft side up. You don't have to put the non-porous side up, but you do have to have a non-porous side. So this particular mattress is, I wrote the sizes down here somewhere. It is 73 inches long, or 6 foot 1 inch. It's 26 inches wide, or 2 foot 2 inches wide, right? And it's an inch and a half thick. Now let's take a look at my bed, just for GP. Since we're here, I'll show you what I use, because I don't use sleeping bags. Haven't used them in a long time. Okay, now I really like down, because it's fluffy and cozy and it squishes down smaller. So what this actually is just a down quilt, okay? And I tend to sleep in it, fold it in half, sleep in it like a taco. And you see? Let's see. See if that makes any sense there. All right. That bag over there has another down quilt in it. That one's actually heavier. So when it gets really cold, I take that one out and put it over. Or if it's just medium cold, I put it over this one. When it gets really cold, then I'll get in between this one and put that one over it. They're also very adjustable because these have duvets on them, right? These covers can be taken off. They're easy to wash. And the other thing is, when it gets really hot, like it was last night, I take the cover off. I took the cover off the other one, slept naked under a sheet. So the bed can be adjusted from average temperatures to really cold weather to downright hot weather, depending on where I'm at. You get yourself a 0-degree sleeping bag and try using it in the Midwest in the summer. And you'll find you don't want to get near it, especially the plastic. When it's hot, because I had plastic sleeping bags for a long time. I don't generally sleep in sleeping bags anymore for the simple fact that they're too confining. I feel like a queer's gerbil in one of those things. So this is what I use. Rolls up pretty big, right? Now, I think I was about out on the road for about 2 years. Of course, I was a young man back then, tough, and you know, young, dumb, full of cum, piss and vinegar, all that stuff. And so, but about 2 years in, I began to realize that I was going to need a better home, or I was going to have to quit. The camp had to become a home, a place I wanted to come to, not a place I just came to sleep. You'll see with people who don't camp much, and they don't need to do this, they put up a tent and a sleeping bag in it and just crash there and get out in the morning. But I spend a lot of time in here. So I had to begin to improve, and I began to try different equipment, and I ended up with this. So I can spend days and time here at home and truly enjoy myself. I have a habit of not getting out of camp till 11 if I'm working, or just whatever, maybe just feeling lazy. Sometimes I'm not out of here till 1 in the afternoon, 2. You know, I try to get out by early afternoon. So anyways, there had to be a home that I really wanted to be in, and this is it. It's my favorite place to be these days, actually. I want to point out that a person, or at least I, am a product of my conditioning. When I moved from my big house into my little, I think it was a 20-foot Airstream trailer, it took months to get used to that. But once I did, it became perfectly normal. And houses really didn't appeal or mean much anymore. And then when I went from the trailer eventually into the camps, that was an even tougher adjustment. But once I became adjusted, it was completely normal and feels like home. And houses really don't appeal to me now. And I think the trade-off was that as I brought the material needs down some and became used to it, is that I gained a lot of freedom in other areas. Alarm clocks became a thing in the past, and it, you know, making time for leisure or travel or recreation became a lot more plentiful. And I just thought I really needed to point that out. That was my experience with it. Now, I want to remind everybody that I wrote a book, and I have a book for sale, and there's a link to it in the drop box below. Now, it's not a motorcycle book. It's actually a spiritual book, I would say, but it's not flowery, and the whole thing is told in story. And it's gotten really great reviews. I actually wrote it a long time ago, and you know, it's a real kind of a unique story. The guy who edited it, he's a reader, and so am I. I read books. He told me, he said, I've never seen this story before, and neither have I. So, which is a hard thing to do in this world, because most everything's been done before, and maybe it has been done, but I've never seen it. So it's you know, when I first made the big changes and started to move myself out onto the road, or maybe it was into my trailer, I forget, but the big changes that I moved towards freedom, what I considered freedom, there was 3 books that really influenced me, and I can tell you the names of them all. But if I would have read Josie's Journey, my book, if somebody else would have written it instead of me, and I would have read it, it would be in that number. It would have been one of the ones that influenced me to make these big changes. So I'm going to leave you guys a link to that down in the drop box below. And of course, we're going to have the Gypsy Jean run. I think it's the 20th or the 23rd. I don't know. I'm going to just put a few flyers up here. It's going to, at the end of this video, I'm going to just leave you some pictures, okay? And tell you all about it. But it's going to be in Columbus, Mississippi.